Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I want to address the question of whether Windows Defender is sufficient both for private individuals and for businesses. And of course, this is a topic that is hotly debated both on Reddit and in other forums. It's a bit like religious topics, so to speak. Some people say that's just how it is. You have to believe in it. That's the way it is, and you can't question it. You just have to accept it as it is. Windows Defender is good and everything else is snake oil. It's really a bit like a matter of faith. Do you believe that everything else is snake oil? Do I say I only trust Windows Defender, or am I part of the group that says, okay, I'm going to question that? Is Windows Defender really that good, or does it also have its weaknesses? Or there was a user on Reddit who really surprised me. Of course, he was more or less criticized. Quite harshly, in fact. How dare he say that Windows Defender has weaknesses and is so bad? But I actually thought his list was really, really good. And also the underlying point that there are still Trojans, viruses, and also ransomware out there. And basically the point was that Windows Defender simply can't detect all viruses. And by the way, neither can any other antivirus provider, no other software, because there are always new forms, and hackers are constantly coming up with something new. That's obvious. And the fact is, Windows Defender actually received really poor ratings last year and also this year. So would I say it's a bad antivirus? No, I wouldn't. It has definitely improved and become really good, and for private users, it's more than sufficient. Here is the virus and threat protection, which is currently enabled, and here you can set up scan actions, run a quick scan, and scan for additional threats. Here you can also manage the settings and set the updates for this virus and threat protection yourself. And you can manage the Rain's homeware protection. Here I'm just checking protect your files and folders. That's definitely good if we enable it. So, of course, this is logically about the Microsoft Cloud. Yeah, and then it's just that Windows Defender has specialized in Microsoft, so it's Microsoft's operating system, and in my opinion, it's resource efficient. Because a lot of people always say Windows Defender isn't that good, and it's very demanding. I can't confirm that. Avira and Avast were much more of a drag, I'd say. So we were just talking about virus and threat protection. Here you can manage protection updates and check for new updates. Then we have account protection here. For my Microsoft account, here I can view my account information and manage Windows Hello information or dynamic lock. I also have access to the firewall and network protection here. The firewall is currently active for a private network here at home or for a public network. Public is relative. If several people use it, that's probably why it's considered public. But theoretically, I can still access the firewall here. And then make various settings. That wasn't it at all. Here, firewall. Yes, manage the provider, manage notifications. But that's not really that interesting, the services. The Windows firewall, you can also open it in the app at the same time. And here is also the web protection. There is no provider set here. Okay, that's it. Okay, then that's fine. That's it. We actually need to go to the advanced settings. These are already the default settings for the firewall. I don't need to restore them. Ah, right, that's what I was looking for. Here you can set everything that happens with the Windows firewall and what is active or not active. If you really know your way around, you can set the rules yourself here. And you can also see exactly what is actually happening with this firewall, or rather what is active regarding inbound and outbound rules. You can also create your own rules here. And yes, so you can of course also use Windows Defender in more extensive ways. There is also a business version, which I would definitely recommend for companies. This is now the version for home users. For regular users. Yes, exactly. Okay, then let's continue with app and browser control. This naturally concerns the apps on the laptop, of course. Why they're called apps will never make sense to me, because to me they're still programs. And here too we have the option to specify exactly what should be used. The system settings are already active. Everything is already preset. You can leave it as it is. Then we have for additional protection, check the apps. The Microsoft Edge Smart Screen and phishing protection is enabled. Very important, warn me about password reuse. You can also set that manually to warn me about reused passwords. I would definitely check that option. Prevent automatic collection of websites and apps. Potentially unwanted apps are definitely blocked, and Smart Screen for the Microsoft App Store is enabled. Very good, definitely. And we just covered that a moment ago. We just had the setting for smart apps, enhanced protection from untrusted apps. Here it's about being able to enable or disable it, but this seems to be the middle ground. Yes, we'll leave it as it is. As I said, the default settings are quite good. You can keep them as they are. And device security, well, the ability to isolate something is similar to quarantine in Bitdefender. And data encryption, you can use BitLocker yourself to encrypt drives. Encrypt them. There are also other programs, for example, VeraCrypt, which you can use to encrypt drives as well. Of course, I don't use it privately myself, but the option is definitely there. And then we also have device performance and integrity, storage capacity, battery life, Windows time service. Everything is fine there. Here you can do a fresh start, basically reinstall Windows, or rather you can do that through the settings. But in theory, the default settings in Windows Defender are already quite good now. Of course, there are also family options for parental controls in case someone has children or teenagers, so you can set certain family settings here. For example, so that children can only access certain websites in the browser. That probably works through the Edge browser anyway, in my opinion. So no pornographic content, no violent content, and all those kinds of things. Yes, that works through the Edge browser. Okay, let's leave that for now. It always takes a bit longer. Well, now. Your family, me and myself. So theoretically, you can set here who in the family has access to what. That's mainly what it's about, I think. And that you can also filter these contents, as I just mentioned. Otherwise, only F-Secure from Finland and Windows Defender actually have this protection. I don't know if others have it by now, but usually every browser offers the option to set up child-friendly websites. And here we now have the protection history. I don't have any recent history here because I just reinstalled the Windows PC over the weekend, so I can't say too much about it right now. But theoretically, if anything were to happen, it would be listed here. For example, if something was sent to quarantine or a phishing email was detected and so on. Yes, the homepage, as we saw earlier, gives you an overview of virus and threat protection, account protection, firewall and network protection, device security, app and browser control, protection history, family options, and device performance. We've just discussed what each of these points means in detail. And as a final conclusion, I can definitely recommend Windows Defender. For people working from home, that is for private users and also for small businesses, but not for a larger firewall or a bigger company where security is a top priority and you might really consider upgrading to the business version or even testing Bitdefender or Kaspersky right away. So Windows Defender has definitely improved a lot. When I think back to Windows 7 and even earlier, it was an absolute disaster. It was just a given to use Kaspersky or McAfee. There was no debate about it. But since around 2015, Microsoft has continuously improved Windows Defender, and by now it's actually on par with well-known antivirus programs like Bitdefender and McAfee. Yeah, there's really nothing more to say about that. You can definitely use it, and it's constantly being developed and improved, but it's not 100% perfect.